It wasn't just another fighter plane. It was the weapon that ended an empire's dream of aerial dominance. On June 19, 1944, over the blue waters of the Philippine Sea, hundreds of dark blue F6F Hellcats roared through Japanese formations, transforming the skies into a slaughterhouse. For Japanese pilots, it was the day their legendary Mitsubishi Zero died, not with honor, but with inevitability. The F6F Hellcat was faster, stronger, deadlier, a steel hammer built to crush fragile wings of hope. The Hellcat was more than a plane. It was a philosophy forged from lessons of defeat. After Pearl Harbor, America didn't just rebuild, it reinvented air combat. With 6 Browning .50 caliber machine guns converging at 300 yards, thick armor plating, and a 2,000 horsepower Pratt Whitney R2800 engine, it was designed not for beauty, but for survival and destruction. Where the Zero danced, the Hellcat endured. It could take bullets, fire back, and still fly home. The Battle of the Philippine Sea was not an accident of war. It was destiny arriving with 15 American carriers, 956 aircraft, and the will to end Japan's aerial supremacy. Vice Admiral Mark Mitcher's Task Force 58 was the most powerful naval air armada ever assembled. Spread across miles of ocean, 4 task groups of fast carriers, Lexington, Enterprise, Yorktown, Essex, formed an unstoppable wall of steel and courage. Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa faced them with 9 carriers and barely 430 aircraft. His once elite airmen were gone, replaced by green recruits with fewer than 100 flight hours. They would face veterans with 10 times their training and radar eyes that could see them coming from 150 miles away. What awaited them was not battle, it was execution. At dawn on June 19th, radar operators aboard U.S. carriers detected the first incoming wave. Fighter directors plotted perfect intercepts. Hellcats roared off decks in pairs, their wings folding out like predatory eagles. Below, sailors watched the sky fill with thunder. Commander Charles Brewer's voice broke over the radio. "Tally-ho! Bandits bearing 265, distance 40 miles. The Great Marianas Turkey Shoot had begun. 69 Japanese aircraft dove in tight formation, unaware they were flying into history's most efficient aerial trap. Hellcats swept in from above, guns flashing. Commander McCampbell, leading VF-15, struck like lightning. His 6 guns tore through enemy bombers. In minutes, the sky turned into burning confetti of wreckage and smoke. Lieutenant Alexander Vratiu, a student of Butch O'Hare, faced engine trouble that slowed him down. But destiny waited. As he approached Task Force 58, he spotted a swarm of enemy dive bombers heading for the fleet. In 8 furious minutes, Vratiu shot down 6 planes with only 360 rounds, each kill a flash of precision. His grin, holding up 6 fingers for the photographer, became the face of victory. Of the 69 Japanese planes in the first wave, 42 never returned. The second wave of 128 came, and died faster. Hellcats from every carrier climbed to intercept. By now, radar control turned the battle into science. American fighters were vectored perfectly, cutting through formation after formation. For Japan, it wasn't just defeat. It was erasure. The Americans called it the Wall, hundreds of Hellcats orbiting at different altitudes, ready to descend in perfect timing. Below, the ocean shimmered like a mirror reflecting death. Lieutenant Eugene Valencia's mowing machine tactic shredded the incoming raid. VF-1 from Yorktown alone claimed 37 kills in a single day. The Zero, once the terror of the Pacific, was now hopeless. Light, unarmored, fragile, its 20mm cannons fired only 60 rounds each before empty. The Hellcat could soak up bullets and keep climbing. The Zero's myth died that day, not by one battle, but by a realization. Bravery alone could not defeat industrial power and science. Even in slaughter, courage existed. Japanese pilots held formation while being torn apart, their discipline almost haunting. American pilots felt a grim respect. Ensign William Spiderwebb of VF-2 said, "They didn't even evade. They just flew straight into death. War had never felt more mechanical or more tragic. At 11:18 a.m., the submarine USS Kavala struck the carrier Shokaku with 3 torpedoes. The great veteran of Pearl Harbor erupted in a fireball, vanishing beneath boiling waves. 2 of Japan's proudest carriers were gone within hours. For the first time, Ozawa realized his fleet was blind and bleeding. Inside darkened combat information centers, American fighter directors calmly moved markers on radar screens. Voices spoke in clipped tones. Vector 270, Angels 20, bogies approaching. They saw the whole board, while Ozawa's pilots saw only chaos. Radar, unseen but omnipotent, was the true secret weapon of June 19th. America's training machine had perfected its craft. Pilots had 400 hours of practice. Japan's had barely 80. Every American ace went home to train the next generation. Every Japanese ace died in the cockpit. Experience became inheritance. One nation built skill, the other spent it. On June 20th, the Americans struck back. Lieutenant Nelson spotted the enemy fleet 275 miles away. It was late. The pilots might not return before nightfall, but Mitchell gave the order, "Launch them." As darkness fell, hundreds of aircraft returned low on fuel. To save them, Mitchell risked everything and ordered, "Turn on the lights." Across the Pacific, every carrier lit up like Times Square. Pilots, guided by those lights, landed on any deck they could find. Some crashed, others ditched, but most lived. Lieutenant John Gray wrote, "It was the most beautiful sight of my life." In the black Pacific night, American discipline and compassion triumphed over fear. Leadership had saved what courage alone could not. When the sun rose, the scale of destruction was biblical. Japan had lost 600 aircraft, 3 carriers, 2 oilers, and almost every experienced pilot it had left. America had lost 123 planes, most to fuel exhaustion. Admiral Mitchell said simply, "The Japanese carrier air force has been destroyed. They'll never recover." He was right. The Hellcat's design told the story. 12,000 pounds of strength, 6 heavy guns, bulletproof glass, and a massive radial engine that could take punishment and still roar home. It wasn't graceful, but it was honest. Every inch was designed for survival. In the hands of well-trained pilots, it became the sword that ended the aerial myth of Japan. Victory came at a price. Commander Brewer was shot down. Others never returned. Yet their sacrifice forged peace. Post-war studies confirmed the numbers. 5,023 enemy aircraft destroyed for 270 Hellcats lost. A 19.1 kill ratio unmatched in history. The Hellcat wasn't just a machine. It was the symbol of an industrial democracy that refused to lose. In the end, even Admiral Ozawa admitted it. The Battle of the Philippine Sea marked the death of Japanese naval aviation. The F6F Hellcat, backed by radar, training and industry, had done what no weapon ever had, turned courage into defeat and steel into victory. Commander McCampbell said it best. The Hellcat was an honest airplane. It brought you home. Over the endless Pacific, the dark blue wings of freedom reigned supreme, and the sun finally set on the empire of the rising sun.